very pleased today to be able to say I've got Ant Carter on here. I've been watching his progress on the internet. We've had some, hi mate, we've had some fun as well. I've read a lot of his blogs, and he's a very energetic and passionate marketer. So what I thought I'd do today is just to ask him a few questions and so he can tell us exactly, why he's passionate about the internet. So how long have you been doing this, Ant? How long have you been marketing?
Marketing myself or marketing a business, I don't know. I've tried to work that out, and there's a wavy line in between my education career and my journey as a teacher, and trying to set up businesses that didn't necessarily need to make money. And at that stage, I think I probably was marketing. I was a teacher, and I've been a teacher for about 15 years. I no longer do it. Currently, I work for a university that's local to us, creating some e-learning for commercial purposes for them. At least I'm doing that part-time until my business grows to fill the gap, and so that I can support my lovely little girl and my daughter here. When I was teaching, I got very bored of teaching the subject, IT, because inevitably, a lot of the time I was teaching Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, and the kids were as bored with it as I was. And somewhere through that journey, I decided to start a coding club, and I learned HTML, CSS, and JavaScript along the way years ago when I was learning to teach. They said you had to make a website for an A-level project, and I thought, well, why do it in Dreamweaver? Let's just learn HTML and make it that way as well. Make it that way. I found it quite easy, and I found students, my students, absolutely love it. And it was a way of teaching them a real skill. So I started doing that, and I realized when we moved to a new building that I had 40 students or 50 students who wanted to do this. In the previous year, I only had 4. So I thought, how am I going to do this? And I set up a website with video tutorials, and the students would arrive, and I'd give them a pair of headphones, exactly the same ones as I'm wearing here. And they would sit down, and basically I would teach them from their machines. And I realized that this was a really good way of doing this. And a little while later, I had people all over the world using the site. About 5 years ago, there was a huge, big explosion in people wanting to learn to code, and I'm still helping some people from a distance who are in America and Australia and other places doing that. When I left teaching, I decided to try and...
Just to interrupt for a sec, you may have another HTML student shortly. It's called Richard.
HTML is wonderful, and actually, it's extremely easy to learn, and it's a very simple coding language. You don't go near variables, you don't go near if statements, you don't. It's just purely presentational. And in fact, HTML by itself has got a lot simpler in the years than when CSS has been taking all its jobs from it. So HTML is largely just structural now, and you use other bits of code, CSS and JavaScript, to actually make the things look the way you want them to. When I first started teaching this, it was a matter of HTML formatting the pages, and HTML and the internet has come a long way since then. So I started, when I left teaching, I wanted to start a business, and I had 6 months clear where I had money to be able to pay my bills. And I thought, what am I going to do with this? And 2 months into that free time, me and my girlfriend finally got pregnant, and I realized I was going to have to go back to work again. So I had 6 months to do something. So I thought, I started teachwithtechnology.co.uk, which was it's a membership site aimed at teachers in the UK and teachers around the world, actually, who wanted to try and teach their students coding skills. In the UK, the computing curriculum appeared in about 2 years ago. And all of a sudden, from a standing start of nothing, primary schools, which for any people that aren't in the UK are anything up to aged 11, had to teach coding or the ability to be able to understand how computers work to their students. And I talked to a few head teachers who are friends of my girlfriend, and they told me that they got this piece of paper from the government, two sides of paper. And this particular person I was talking to said she read the first sentence and had to look up 2 words immediately on the internet and then put it in a drawer, and just thought, I can't do that. So I thought I created a course that was based around these 2 pages of information the government were going to send. And I opened this up so that people from the UK could learn from this. And I didn't charge for it. I think in hindsight, I could have done. However, you learn a lot, don't you? And actually at that stage, making money wasn't at the forefront of my mind. As soon as my daughter was born, I realized that I've kind of always realized I don't want to be the dad who's always at work. And I think I'm then on this journey along with lots of us who are trying to buy our freedom, I guess, from the system that we're born into, the system that teaches us at school that we're going to be these little robots that go to work every day, and that's going to be a main part of our life. And actually, looking back on the education that I was given, it was an expectation. It was an expectation, and years worth of expectation is brainwashing, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm so determined that I'm going to be able to be a dad who's at work, much less. And I'm currently bridging the gap between where I am now, which is working for a university 4 days a week. I negotiated I still work full time, but over 4 days, and I've got Thursdays every week to be able to pursue my business. And through spending lots of money and doing lots of things that didn't suit my skills and experience, I've come across what was kind of obvious to me from the beginning, which was that given my skills and experience as a teacher and as an educator and as a trainer and all sorts of other things that I've done, I think this idea of creating digital products to help people learn skills, particularly digital skills, is probably where my business needs to be. And it's probably where I can add most value. Now, whether that's from my blog at AntCarter.com, where I'm trying to give stuff away, or actually in the longer term, I suspect myself, yourself, and Hillary, and anyone else that might be watching this in the future actually wants to develop an income and sell something. Now, whether that's our own products or affiliate products or a mixture of the two, whether we're doing that by building a list and creating a really strong relationship with some people who are keep coming back to us, or whether we're advertising and selling one-off products to people, the business model is immaterial. I think inside me, I've got a huge passion to be the dad my daughter deserves, and I think that's where I am at now.
Do you know what's coming across to me really strongly here is that you came into all this from the point of view of giving value and helping and teaching, and the marketing came in as an add-on. Now, so many people come into this business starting off trying to make money, and that's not how it works, is it? You have to be there. You have to engage with people, as you've so rightly said, build up relationships with them, help them out with what they're doing, and maybe advise them in which direction they could take it. But you're so lucky, actually, to have come into marketing from the teaching and education standpoint. I mean, I didn't. I came in from I need to make some money on the internet, and I had to turn that upside down and start again.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. You're right about providing value and then letting everything else come from that. But look, as someone who recently really didn't know what they were doing, 2 years ago, I had no idea. Hearing the sort of gurus and people who have already achieved success say that is all fair enough. But actually, the reality of the situation is that we need to pay our bills, and our bills come every month or every week. And actually, the idea of creating a business that's fluffy and around value actually is only half the story, because then actually we do need to turn into salespeople, and we do need to turn into people who can monetize that value. And I think as a Britain, I think as someone from the UK, I think too often the Americans have got it right in this sense. They're not afraid to be salespeople, and they're not ashamed of being salespeople. And I think a lot of people in the UK probably are. They're probably embarrassed to send that message that says, well, why don't you click here? Because I can sell you something for a considerable amount of money that will be able to help you with that. And I don't, there's something that needs to go along with the providing of value. And that's providing value back to ourselves. And I don't think we should be ashamed of that. I think we should be proud of that.
I couldn't agree more. And I had this very discussion with somebody I admire a lot last week. I put a little post up on a Facebook page I belong to, and all I said was, free content marketing is great. I always remember the first two parts. I always forget the third part, the marketing. I give away tons of free content. And as Adrienne Smith said to me last week, you mustn't sell the farm, don't give everything away, and then you've got nothing left to make a living and earn a living from. So absolutely, free content marketing is great, but you have to market your free content.
You have to have a funnel. You have to have a funnel there somewhere. So it's a great idea to be able to have free content, to be able to give things away. Absolutely, that's where you need to start. And I agree with you. I'm fortunate in coming at this from having something to be able to create value with. Although often a lot of people who create products aren't experts until they've created the product. And particularly some products I've seen that have been very successful have been created by people who have started a journey of learning something and have created a case study based on what they've done. By the end of that case study, they become much more proficient in what they're doing, and actually they can be paid throughout that learning journey. You don't need to, and this is one of the things I try and tell people I'm connected with is, please don't wait until you're an expert to try and start helping people. The context of the content, this idea of being an expert gets in people's way because they think, oh my God, I've got to be better than these people at doing what I do. No, you haven't. You've got to be able to help people who are on a lower rung of the ladder than you get to where you are. And wherever we are on our own learning journey, there's always people who we can connect with and we can help. Albeit I won't be able to help the Ryan Dices of the world do anything other than perhaps make a coffee. But that doesn't mean that I can't produce something, and it doesn't mean I can't start the journey of learning through the process of creating some of these products. Because I honestly believe that as soon as you've got something out there that's yours, that either you're giving away or that's for sale, you end up with a whole lot of confidence than you wouldn't have had already.
I couldn't agree again more than what you just said, but you are an expert in your own field. Everybody is an expert in what they do best, and you need to work with that. I always say you don't need to try and copy the top people in different niches, but make your own niche and work from that, which you've obviously done, which I'm trying to do with my crazy email strategy and my sort of off the wall long emails full of things which do end up getting to a point at the end, but people seem to enjoy reading them. And that's the strategy I find I get a lot of engagement with. People go, what the heck's he on about now? And then at the end it hooks in. But I love I love wordsmithing, that's my thing. So yes, we all have our own niche, which we can become the number one expert in, but it isn't necessarily a ladder of rungs. I don't always see it that way.
No, I'm just thinking about each person's... each person's progression. It's a way of visualizing it. No, we're not all on the same ladder. It would be quite a complex ladder with all sorts of different bits going everywhere. So it's just a way of seeing progress. I often see progress as a flight of stairs, and as a product creator and as a marketer, it's really useful to be able to think of your target customer in that sense, to be able to think, okay, well, the bottom of the stairs, they aspire to get to the top of the stairs over this period of time. What are the barriers that are between where they are now and where they want to be? And if you can identify those things and you're clear enough about knowing your customer, then designing something to help them achieve what they want to achieve and overcome some of the barriers they experience on every day is actually a great deal easier than people think, because to provide value, you only actually need to be able to solve one small problem well to be able to create a decent relationship with someone, and possibly then to start selling them things which might take them further.
Can I run this back 30 seconds and just say to everybody who did come in late when we were already going, this is my first Ninja guest blab, and I've invited Ant Carter from the UK to come and tell us about why he's passionate about internet marketing. We tried to record it from 12:15, but Blab blew up on me and I lost the link. So you're welcome, and we're very pleased you're here, but do bear with us. We're sort of running 20 minutes behind here. So back to you, Ant, and just to let people know that.
In terms of creativity, I knew I was coming on today, and I haven't prepared a whole lot of stuff, but I've been writing some things recently that have helped me realize and helped me refine my own skills. And I just wanted to say something a little bit about my own creativity, because I think harnessing that has been the most satisfying and possibly the most rewarding thing I've ever done so far. And it's a challenge to tap into that in a busy life. I've managed to refine a process that I'm still learning, to try and tap into that creative brain I've got and get products out of me quickly. Now, some people might, and I'm a believer that you need to find your own way of doing this. My own way of doing this is certainly in a quiet environment. But I did a webinar recently where I tried to explain this, and I tried to explain this in the concept of having 3 hats. And the first hat is a Joker's hat. You're going to imagine a Joker's hat with all the bells on. It's a wild hat, and when I put that hat on, my creative brain just goes, and I type to try and catch up. So I'm typing frantically, trying to keep up with my creative brain. And at some stage or another, my project management hat has to kick in and say, "Whoa, okay, check." Because the Joker hat just keeps going. It doesn't know how to refine anything. It doesn't know how to write less. And it can go off on a tangent very, very easily indeed. Because all I'm doing when I'm using that part of my brain is just focusing my thoughts. And I've got a project management hat, which is, I kind of see this as a top hat, the kind of boss. It's my project manager and the person who will tell my creative brain to slow down a little bit and to direct it. So at that stage, I'll kind of look at what I've done, and I'll look at it and think, okay, well, these bits here we need to put into a different project, because you were going off the subject there. These bits here are good, but they need to be in a different order. So let's reorder these. And okay, now what I want you to think about is this bit here, because you haven't really done this bit yet. Put a different hat on, go start going again.
Can I just say one thing there? I'm on my second novel, and the way you write is you blurt it all out, and then later you go back and start doing the tweaking, and that's the hardest part. Getting the first draft out is easy. So, well, no, it's not easy, but it's a lot. The hard work comes later. So I totally relate to what you're saying. You've got to just do it. You've got to keep writing. You've got to keep producing, and then you can refine it. Oops. Thank you. Yes, I just wanted to agree with you there. Make this more into a conversation if possible. Yeah.
No, that's fine. Apologies. I tend to.
When
I put my Joker hat on, my brain just goes. And I guess in the same way that when I'm typing to try and catch up, I need to talk to try and catch up.
No, no apologies necessary, and we're absolutely hooked onto every word you're saying. I just wanted to try and remind myself this is an engagement platform as well. But carry on, please. A bit more.
That's fair enough.
Give us some more.
I think. I'm just thinking about the creative process, because I think as a learning professional from past and going forward into my business, I guess I still am. I think there's a gap between what people want to do and what they actually end up doing, and I think a lot of people lack the confidence and motivation to be able to get started. But a lot of people lack the confidence to be able to start writing in the way that you've described. Because I agree with you, getting stuff out of my brain is reasonably easy. But for a lot of people, they sit in front of a blank page and aren't sure where to start. And I think a lot of that comes from having a plan and having a clear focus at the beginning. So if you work the project, the digital project creation process back from the desired outcome, which is to have a project that's commercially successful, then yes, you've got the creation process, you've got the publishing process, you've got the marketing process, but going back beyond that, you've got a level of understanding of your customer that has to precede any of this, because to sell anyone anything, or to produce anything of value, whether you're giving it away or you're trying to sell it, you've got to understand that customer first. And this model of a set of stairs where your customers got to try and get from this point where they know very little to this point where they want to be, the long-term goal that they might have. An understanding of that is what my business is based on.
Same as mine, Ant. The way I work, very much similar to you, I think, is to use my blog as a sort of hub site, and to go out and invite people back to kick their shoes off, have a coffee, tell us what they're up to. And that's how I start to build up what I call a know, like, and trust relationship with people. So absolutely, you've got to treat people. Forget one thing, which is that traffic isn't people coming into a funnel. Traffic is people with young children, with cars, with financial problems, who cry and laugh and have bad days and good days, just like all of us. That's what people That's what traffic really is. It's lots of individuals, and you need to talk to them, don't you? Absolutely spot on.
Are you creating a project at the moment, a product at the moment, Richard? You mentioned your second book.
Oh, that's not actually to do with the internet. That's another thing I like. I've got this thing about writing novels. I don't know why. I guess I just got a lot of words, and I want to.
Is it romance, Richard?
It's actually a detective novel. The first one set in India, set in Jaipur, and it's just really good fun. It's a sort of Indiana Jones type thing.
Ooh, I like that.
Got my blood going anyway. That was the thing. But no, my projects are all about educational software and trying to help people put their businesses together. Probably similar to you. You have a more technical knowledge than I do. I can see, HTML and all those amazing bits of kit. You do need to know how to do them. But if you don't, you outsource them and pay someone else, don't you?
Yeah, I certainly do. And I think that the difference. The difference bringing on to outsourcing is something we've discussed online over the last week or so. Is this the difference between one person who might try and go out there and create a business, and it's natural for a non-entrepreneur or someone who is beginning to learn those skills to be able to get out there and create a business around themselves. So they might learn to create the web pages they need. They might learn to write. They might learn to build a list. They might learn to do all these things. And basically, they're creating themselves a job. And for a lot of people, that's a really satisfying process. And I've seen this in myself over the last 2 years. I've created a job that's actually a whole lot better than any other job I've ever had. However, scaling that job, scaling that business, because there's only one of me, my time is now the biggest restriction on the growth of my business. And I think at that stage, either you start doing higher value, higher margin things to be able to make more money from the time you've got. Or more likely, you start to try and outsource these things, try and get partners on board so that your business can grow. And I think for a lot of people, that's it's a moment at which their business is born again. Because what I'd like is to be able to develop a business that isn't. And this goes back to what I'd said in the blog post and in my comments to you. The difference between having a pet who will always be dependent on you, will always need that level of care. It doesn't matter how old they get. And a child who, at the beginning of your relationship with them and in the beginning of your business, will need a lot of your time, will need to be taught a lot of things.
Have you been looking at my blog I've been writing today? Because that's exactly what I'm talking about on it.
I haven't yet, but I will now.
It isn't written yet, actually, but yeah. Sorry, carry on.
No, it's this idea of a business that can grow independently of you, so that. Because a lot of people, when they start wanting to succeed online in internet marketing or whatever else they're wanting to do, whether they've got a cafe at the end of the road, they might be wanting freedom from the life that they are currently living. And you take on risk for that because you've got to provide a regular income for your family, etc., whether you've got a bricks and mortar business or an internet business. And the challenge that a lot of people have, I think, is that they create themselves, they dig themselves just into a different hole in terms of the fact that they've still got no freedom. Actually, they've got less freedom than they had before because they don't have the benefit of 25 generous days holiday a year.
I know people just like that, Ant. I know people who said, I'm going to look for freedom. I now work 23 hours a day instead of 8, well, something went wrong, didn't it, with the plan?
Well, the route out of that is often if the business is successful and your problem is finding enough time, then the problem is in trusting others to do some of that work for you. So in my case, it's trusting others to build the websites and sales pages. It's trusting others to be able to write the copy that I might put on the sales pages. It might even be trusting others to do the precious thing that I love doing most, which is create the products, because there's only one of me. And it could well be that I'll be able to take on people. I've already started thinking about this as an ex-teacher. I've got lots of HTML students and lots of people who now know a whole lot more about code than I ever did, because I set them off on their journey at age 11, and they've since left school and they've gone off to have jobs with other people. I'm already thinking, how can I employ these people in the future?
Do you know what? Many years ago, I taught horse riding, and I had students who, as soon as they got on a horse, I knew they were better riders than I was. I had guys of 10 and 12 who'd get on a horse and do things I just couldn't ever do because they were naturals. And it's quite exciting as a teacher, this, when you spot someone who's going to soar like an eagle and to leave you behind, in the dust. And there's something wonderful about that experience of enabling that person to find themselves. So that's another reason why I enjoy the marketing, is because, you do see people soaring as a result of you just maybe touching one little nerve on them and getting them to respond to it, and away they go. So that's one of the benefits of being a teacher, really.
Yeah, I certainly felt that as a teacher in a school where the students really needed teachers' help. I think I taught in two of the I wouldn't say the worst schools, but schools in the most difficult circumstances personally. And a lot of the students didn't really have parents. They had people who were at home who kicked them out in the morning so that they could watch the telly all day, and were a little bit reticent when they came back home in the evening needing feeding. So a lot of these kids were blank slates in a lot of senses, with a lot of inbuilt negative attitudes about things. And I think in a way, helping people who are wanting to be internet marketers is similar, because we've all got baggage that we carry around that stops us being the person who we could really be.
That's a whole different kettle of fish there. The self-improvement, self-empowerment, and the things you learn when you do this marketing, which are nothing to do with marketing at all. Like, I didn't realize how tough I was until I had a really difficult day last year, and I just went straight through it. And also another thing you never realize is what you've learned on the way. When you sit down and suddenly you find you can put 10 emails into an autoresponder in 20 minutes, which previously took you 3 days, that's a real victory. I'll just say one thing, that I didn't know anything about marketing myself back in 2014 when I got involved. But what I did is I found someone who'd already built a funnel, already had a strategy, already had splash pages, and was actually keen to get people to send high quality traffic into his funnel. And he paid commissions on it. It's kind of affiliate marketing. But the guy I chose to work with is absolutely a resounding top marketer in Britain. He lives very close to you, funnily enough.
Yeah, it's Dean Holland, isn't it?
Yeah, I wasn't going to do any promotion on here, but yes, it is. He's a great guy. But the point is that it's all set up, and basically all you have to do is learn to be an expert traffic driver, which is, finding people, getting them into your tribe, talking to them and seeing what they're looking for. And maybe you have got something you can offer them. So a lot of the technical stuff's been taken care of in my business. Although I do keep sticking my nose in and trying to get involved in it. I must stop doing that.
No, I think that's a curious learner. And I'm wondering, because I've come at this from a different angle. I'm creating the products myself. I'm putting the funnels together myself, and I'm learning a lot of technical things, and actually taking much more time doing it that way. I know the product that you're talking about, and the training course that you're talking about, and I know several people using that.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm wondering if by using that sort of done for you system, whether you're also what are you learning alongside the learning of
the one thing that I got absolutely from this is you must build your own list. There's no point in sending all your wonderful high value traffic that you've worked on into someone else's list to disappear forever. What you have to do is put people through your products. I do a lot of free and low cost front end products, so that I can, and then when these people are interested in what I'm talking about, the ones who do want to go further, then I'll maybe offer them the opportunity to get into the list that I'm the other funnel that I'm involved with. But totally building your own list, that's the only way forward as far as I'm concerned, is having your own tribe, as I call it, of people that listen to you, read your emails, open them, and have a relationship with you, a like trust relationship.
No, you're right about that. The other thing that what you've just said has reminded me is I'm subscribed to Tony Shepard's newsletter. I think it's the only newsletter I have ever actually paid to be a part of, because every time he writes to me, and I've only paid him a couple of times, and I thought, okay, well, I like this guy. I'll sign up to this newsletter, and I suspect I'll read his back copies and then cancel. which is fair enough. He gets people who do that, and I'm not asking for a refund. I've got value from him, and that's fine. Every single one of his newsletters I've written has given me one of those moments which make me think, "Oh my God, of course." And I think the system that you're talking about, the iPro, is a back end system, isn't it? Because I think the problem that a lot of people have in creating free products and then perhaps products at a lower price range, anything from sort of $7 to $97, is that you need to sell an awful lot of them to be able to create a consistent income. And actually, that doesn't actually happen. Everyone that creates, the vast majority of people that create these $7 products, to use an example, are doing that to be able to make someone a customer, to be able to generate an initial relationship with that person so that they can sell them things that may help them in the future that are probably higher value products. And it's for anyone watching this who might not be aware of the lingo, it's called having a back end, and the profits are in the back end.
Absolutely.
And realizing this a couple of years ago was important for me, because at that stage I started thinking longer term, and I started thinking, okay, well, it's not just a matter of the sales funnel that you're setting up now, and that has a $7 product with an upsell of video training and something else. Don't think that you will make a consistent enough income without constantly having to write new products. And again, it's not scalable. It's not a consistent long-term
residual,
business.
is it? It's not residual. It's not paying you. You have to keep doing the work to get the money. You may as well be working in a shop. Absolutely. There's one point I just want to address, which you said there very accurately. 97% of people who do affiliate marketing are selling front-end products, and they won't make any money, because how many $20 products do you have to make to sell to make $2,000? 100. Yeah. How many $1,000 sales do you have to make? 2. Which is easier, finding 100 customers or finding 2? The answer's on the back of an envelope, you know. Most of those affiliate marketers will never offer you the back end of their funnel. That's the real clincher.
No, well, because most of those affiliate marketers haven't got a back end to their funnel.
And the ones who have won't be telling you about it, because they want the money from the back end sales. No. They want you to carry on giving them free leads, basically, and pouring them into their funnels. That's how it works.
I think that's where I'm kind of lucky, although I've worked hard for the luck, is that I've got a background in technology training and in teaching that I think gives me the potential to be able to offer a higher end coaching product in the future. I've realized actually over the last few months as well, my first product, Profit Map Academy, that really I created knowing it wasn't going to be a commercial winner. If you put that in front of a make money online customer who's looking for a button to press, they're going to be very disappointed, because that product told them to put everything down. And to put everything down and to think from scratch about what they do. So yes, we do have a question. How would I sell a one-time purchase product with no upsell opportunities, like a $7 digital item? Well, it's a very good question. You will struggle to find affiliates. Unfortunately, affiliates have, the reason I'm mentioning affiliates, let's go from the beginning. If you've got a $7 product, you've got a choice. You can sell it yourself with setting up a funnel yourself through a blog, through paid advertising, but you've got to drive that traffic yourself. Or on the other hand, you get affiliates who have targeted traffic at their fingertips to be able to drive traffic to it. The difficulty you're going to have in attracting affiliates to a $7 product that hasn't got any upsells is that affiliates have too much choice these days. And a lot of them, I'm a little ashamed to say, actually don't care enough about the people on their list to be able to think, hang on a minute, rather than offering something that is going to pay me the most commission, or rather than offering something that's going to give me the most advantage, why don't I look at my list and think, look, this isn't going to pay me as much, but this is what they actually need. Now, if your $7 product is absolute gold and can't be got anywhere else, I suspect that you'll find affiliates that would want to offer that for you. However, if you were coming into the market afresh, you might struggle to get people's interest on that basis, because generally speaking, unfortunately, in the MMO niche at least, you've got people who have far too much choice in what they promote. They're making far too much money from promoting just anything. And they don't really, and this is a sweeping generalization, but in my experience, they don't honestly care about the people on their list. Which niche is it that you're interested in? Is this the make money online or the internet marketing niche, or have you got a sideline in something like life and skills development, for example?
E-commerce.
An e-com product. It might be one solution to this, because one solution to this is splintering the product that you've got and creating a funnel, but not necessarily having to do so with the idea of creating a whole lot more stuff. Often when I create a $7 product, actually what I'm creating is something that could be sold for a whole lot more than $7. If that is honestly the case, then what I try and do is splinter off that product so that you've got a front end that is still $7, that does something that can sit by itself and provide value, but then has the extra bits, the bits that my creative brain has said, oh, you need to add this, and oh, people will love it if you add that. Actually, if you start thinking about your product, you might find, and I don't know, I haven't seen it, but often I find that actually what I've created is at least a product and then an upsell, even if the upsell is only cheap. The other thing you can do is start thinking, well, how can I easily add things to that $7 product? I'll give you an example. You might be thinking, I'm going to teach someone something, and the upsell then becomes, okay, well, let's split this in half and teach the first bit in the front end product, and then teach something else in the upsell. And you might splinter your product in half to be able to do that. Well, the next obvious thing that you could teach people is is a done for you service, or a series of resources that you found that you use, a Rolodex of some sort. You could outsource it to be able to get someone to create something on a theme, or you could partner with someone else who has got the back end or the slightly more expensive end, and you could go in together with complementary products and complementary skills.
Here's one more thought to add to that, which is why not turn it back to front and design your funnel from the high-end back-end sale and make all your products congruent right back to the front-end offer. Start with the dynamite $2,000 seminar course or whatever, and bring it back through an upsell, a membership thing at $47, a front-end product at $20, and a free ebook to introduce them into the funnel. We were always taught to try and reverse engineer a funnel from the high-end product back to the front-end offer, rather than coming along saying, I've got this wonderful $7 product, where does it go next? Congruency, that has to be something that relates to the next product, and that has to relate to the third product. There has to be a theme, because you're looking for targeted traffic, and those people want to follow that theme right through to your back-end sale, where you're actually helping them put a multi-million-pound business together. That's all I wanted to say. Reverse engineer your funnel.
Yeah, it's a good idea. And actually, if you concentrate on a tightly defined niche and you've developed a couple of products, you'll probably find that actually the back end takes care of itself, because you've got you release another front end product, and actually you think, well, because I'm operating in the same niche, the same product that I've just released, it could be part of this funnel. Once you've been working in a niche for long enough, you do find that these funnels create themselves a whole lot more easily. If you're jumping around between your different niches, you're doing e-com one day and CPA the next, and I don't know, niche websites and SEO the next, you'll find that doesn't happen so easily. And certainly if someone goes into a funnel and gets offered something that's completely different in terms of its objective and in terms of its outcome, then no, your funnel won't really work. But I hope that's given you a few ideas.
Because you sold cat food to all your cat food lovers, and then you suddenly come in with, I've got some really good dog food here, would you be interested? They're not going to be taking that sale, are they? They haven't got dogs. So you haven't done your research. You haven't targeted. Spot on. I totally agree. But just back to the novel idea. When I was saying earlier, I wrote a couple of novels. I always start with the last chapter. I always start with the big sword fight at the end, and then I work backwards. So that was the reason I was talking about reverse engineering, because that's how I do novels and short stories. But there you go.
Yeah, you're right. As a teacher, you teach to the test a lot of the time, and it's the bit that got me very, very reticent about the profession in the end, because in the end, you weren't teaching the students, you were teaching the results. And Unfortunately, it meant that some students got left behind, and actually some students you didn't have time to help them challenge themselves because you were too concentrated on the CD border kids and getting the end results that the school wanted. When actually you lose sight of the fact that each one of those students has only one chance at education, and each year for them is important, and pushing themselves sometimes doesn't happen. You've got to be able to do that as an educator. And in the schools I worked in, it was all about getting scores on the board so that Ofsted, the UK inspection of schools, didn't visit the school and give us a bad mark. And that's why I left education.
I'm going to invite you back on in a few weeks because I think there's tons more to talk about. But in the meantime, while I'm going to wind this up soon, if that's okay, Ant, because you've worked really hard and told us loads of useful stuff. Can I type your link in, or are you able to do that? I think I have to do it. Do I?
Yeah, it might be best. This is the first time for me using Blab, so you never know. I might hit the wrong button, and we'll have to start again.
It's World Wide Web dot.
No, here you go. I've got to send the message. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you do have to do it. Fine.
That was me having a senior moment.
Wait till you're my age.
I do have things to sell. Look, I'm not here as a salesperson. I've got Profit Map Academy as my product. It's the basis of a coaching a back end that I'm going to develop over the next few years. However, the blog's the place to go to find out about me, antcarter.com, and it's where I communicate with the world, and yes, it's where I'll advertise the products that I believe in too. But if people want to communicate with me there, I'd be very happy to do that.
Well, thank you so much for sharing this time with us today. I know you've got a baby to go and check on soon. I know you've really slotted this into your busy day as an Easter family man. Is that right? So
yeah, it is. My little Josie is still asleep upstairs, and when she wakes up, I don't think there will be a calm, peaceful surroundings. I think she'll be climbing the walls up there somewhere. So no, I'm looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to taking her to the seaside tomorrow. So last time we took her to the seaside, she wasn't able to paddle in the sea. So Daddy's going to take her paddling tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to that.
Well, my youngest is 26 now, so there ain't be no paddling from me. But I'm just going to give you a few more bits of applause there. Guys, you can clap, press the little clap and give us a slap. That means, I think it means your ranking goes up or something. But I haven't worked it out yet. But we're going to wind this down. There will be a recording. You're welcome to obviously come and visit Ant, see what he's up to. And that's my blog site as well. So we're thrilled to bits to see any of you who've listened and lurked in the background, or those who've actually, owned up that they're here. That's great. And I'm Richard Seaton. This has been my first ever Ninja Blab guest interview, and I've got them coming up every 2 weeks. And Ant has kindly stepped in and, been the first victim. So thank you, and I will definitely be asking you back. So
thank you, Richard. I'd be happy to join you again.
That would be great. Take care, everybody.
TLC.